Hello there and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now in this video we're going to have a very interesting video actually, guys and girls. It's going to be a top to bottom approach. We're going to talk about some bad news that just came out for Bitcoin, and then we're going to take a look at very important dates that we have to be watching out for. Then we're going to take a look at very interesting charts and what they can potentially mean, and then only then we're going to take a look at some technical analysis and all the important stuff that is coming up right here and right now. And yes, I know that things with Bitcoin are not really looking that very good. So before you make any decisions in the market, watch this video from the beginning and until the end, and only then make any kind of a decision. So without any further ado, if you are brand new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button and also hit that notification bell so that you're always notified when the market is on the move. And remember that down in the description of this video, there is also a link to my free Telegram channel, which you can join. It's a great community of traders that are always discussing cool stuff, all trading related. And I oftentimes post some interesting trade ideas and trade setups also in the Telegram group, because I can do it a lot faster than on YouTube. And without any further ado, let's just jump right into it. So, guys and girls, before we get into it, please hit that like button. Let's get at least to 2,000 likes, and I always appreciate the support of my huge, amazing community on YouTube. 100K, unbelievable. So thank you for each single view, each single comment, and each single like for me, from Mr. Spot On. And yes, some of you might ask, Thomas, you're supposed to be in Turkey right now, in Istanbul, and I was supposed to be, but I'm still in sunny Dubai because something really changed because of the situation that we were contemplating, and we actually went to the airport early in the morning yesterday, and we didn't leave Dubai. So whatever, it's a long story. I don't want to bore you with the details, but we're going to probably go to Istanbul a bit later. So let's begin with the nasty stuff. And the nasty stuff is going to be this right here, and that New York just passed a bill cracking down on Bitcoin mining. And basically, lawmakers in New York just passed a bill to ban certain Bitcoin mining operations that run on carbon-based power sources. So the ones that actually are bad for the environment, right? So, and now it's going to be on the table of the governor, Kathy Hochul. Yeah. So, and who could sign it into law or veto it. So we'll see what's going to happen. This is very important, because if it passes, it would make New York the first state in the country to ban blockchain technology infrastructure. So again, this is not going to be, a lot of people are really scared about this, but to be honest, this is not really, banning crypto or anything. So it's more about the ban of crypto mining that is bad for the environment. But the problem here is that this could become a trend among states, and so that could actually affect the hash rate. And we can see this kind of a similar situation to what we saw in China previously with Chinese FUD. So this is the current situation, and that's why Bitcoin is not really enjoying this kind of news and is currently going down a little bit. If we're going to go into smaller time frame, we're going to see that it's selling off right now. Yeah, so this is quite nasty, quite frankly, guys and girls. And that's why I said, and if you watched my previous videos, I did tell you that even though we saw this massive breakout, I was still more short biased, and I would be entertaining more short trades than long trades. And I did tell you this before, so make some noise down in the comments for Mr. Spot On. I saved you some money there. So anyway, let's move on to the next things, and that is, we started with some bad news for Bitcoin, but we certainly have to talk about potential and some good news and some hopium scenarios. And of course, that is going to be for us something like this. As an example, this is the first chart I wanted to mention. It was initially posted by Crypto Rover over on Twitter. So this is basically the Bitcoin number of addresses with balances that are more than 10,000 Bitcoin. So this is basically shows us Bitcoin whales and what they're doing, and they are accumulating. So the number of addresses with this kind of a huge number of Bitcoin is actually increasing. So we are certainly seeing some kind of a accumulation from the big money and the smart money. So this is very good sign, right? So when the big boys are buying and accumulating, and when the small fishes are, feeding them cheaper Bitcoin, this is a good sign. But again, it's not a guarantee of anything. Now, let's move on to the next hopium scenario, which is this right here, also initially posted on Twitter by Aurelian Hayan. I can never pronounce his name, sorry dude. So basically this is like literally every single year, 13, 14, 15 is missing, 16, 17, 18 is missing, 19, 20, 20. So almost like every year when we are seeing like the absolute bottom of the market, we're going to see a very similar structure, which is descending broadening wedge, as it says right here. So we are seeing a descending broadening wedge right here, and also here, 16, 2017, another one, 2017, another one in 17, then 19. And right now we're also seeing the same kind of a structure. So the question is that it? You know, is that the bottom, and whether we're going to actually take off to space? And I'm going to actually answer this question in this video as well. And just as a reminder, and quick buy bit chill, if you want to be trading actively, longing or shorting Bitcoin, in this instance probably is going to make more sense to short it probably, right? But again, watch this video till the end. So if you want to be trading actively and you want a huge real money bonus when you're signing up, then use my link down in the description of this video or in the pinned comment. And if you use my link to sign up with Bybit, which is an insane, great platform with great liquidity, low commissions, and overall great trading experience, and you're going to use my link, then you'll get up to $4,100 in free bonuses on top of your initial deposit, which is awesome. And also 0% maker fees for 30 days. So use that opportunity. Now, if we're going to go back to this one right here, and we're going to see that certainly we are forming this kind of a broadening wedge. And you know, a lot of people are saying that, well, this is the bottom, we're going to the moon. And yes, certainly, guys and girls, there is a huge potential that finally we're gonna see this, you know, this, at least this, as I've mentioned before, this vicinity of about $30,000 right here being the potential bottom somewhere in this area. But as I have mentioned to you many times before, that for us to expect that Bitcoin is going to suddenly take off to like 57 or whatever $1,000 currently is unreasonable. And why that is, let me just explain it to you real quick. And it is because of the Fed's quantitative tightening and the increasing of the interest rates. So basically Fed fighting the inflation. I would be personally betting on a huge rally in Bitcoin as soon as, because if we, for example, going to go to, really, let's quickly take a look at Dixie. So with Dixie, we're seeing still this massive rejection from 103. That's what we've been always waiting for. And remember, there is an inverse correlation. When Dixie is going down, Bitcoin is rallying. And vice versa, when Dixie is going upward, Bitcoin is going downward. So we're potentially going to see another move downward right here in the coming months, potentially. So from the standpoint of the dollar index, we certainly are in good hands right now and in a very good position, unless things change very rapidly. But a lot of things are, of course, telling us that we are potentially at the bottom. But remember, guys and girls, that every time when we saw a bottom and when we rallied, most of the time, the money printer was on. So the US government, the Fed, was printing money and stimulating the economy. So a lot of the money was flowing to high risk assets and the interest rates were low. So for that reason, for us to expect a huge explosion in Bitcoin until we see the increase, until we actually see Fed starting to at least slow down the increase of the rates, take a break, maybe turn on the money printer perhaps. And the question is, you know, when is that going to happen? And to be honest, I would be very surprised if it happens by the end of the year, maybe next year or in 2024 for sure. So that gives us big room for Bitcoin to liquidate a bunch of people who are doing a bunch of random stuff, because it is, in my personal opinion, again, non-financial advice, I really think that Bitcoin is going to have a bunch of breakups and breakdowns, and at the end it's going to look like some kind of a consolidation, or even potentially a very similar scenario that we had in this area right here. So prolonged time of consolidation from the time of when, let's actually take a look at this. This is actually quite interesting date range. So let's go to the daily chart. Let's go back in time to, let me just make it a tiny bit bigger. Hello, please work. So we're going to go back here and we're going to measure the time span from the absolute bottom, potentially right here, and the amount of time it took for Bitcoin to actually start rallying. And it was basically 63 days, right? So, and it was like breaking up and breaking down and higher and lower, and it was just a nasty time to trade, especially if you're taking bigger swing trades. So in this instance, if we're gonna just do the same kind of a measurement approximately, we're gonna see that if we had 63 days previously, so 63 days will be around this area right here, and this could actually be a good number. That this is the amount of time, because we're currently not even in the middle. So I would say that would have another like a month for us to see what is going to happen with the interest rates, what is Fed gonna do, and until then, really, I wouldn't really expect very much. Maybe a retest of the 50-day moving moving average, which is this blue line right here, which is coming in at about $34,000 maybe, and then get rejected and then maybe go lower, maybe even lower than $28,000, and then finally do something and take off and maybe retest levels like $45,000. Again, all of which is just a speculation, but it's based on the understanding of what's going on with the monetary policy in the United States, which has huge effect on the stock market, etc., which we follow, which Bitcoin follows very closely. So for that reason, guys and girls, before we move on to, you know, the smallest TA that I wanted to do, like with all the short-term targets and the levels that you should be paying attention to, let's discuss, you know, what you have to be paying attention to in terms of the dates, in terms of the fundamentals. So number one being this month being the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, that we've seen previously. It reports basically the report on inflation, which is going to be June the 10th this year at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. So this is huge. That this is going to happen about a week, and we're going to really want to see what's going to happen in terms of the inflation when it comes to CPI. But remember that the Fed and Jerome Powell gives more weight to personal consumption expenditures price index, which is going to be the next release, is going to be only on June 30th, and this is going to be a huge indication for us whether we are actually going down in inflation or not. Because certainly we potentially have seen a peak in inflation, so we are already seeing that we're going down a little bit, but really want to confirm it, and that's what the Fed is waiting for. Remember that the Fed is always working with a 3 months delay with their actions based on what they're seeing in the market. So this is very important, and this is what I would be waiting for at least June 10th for any major decisions in Bitcoin. Of course, you can take some trades here and there on Bitcoin and, you know, with some kind of scalp trades or short trades, be more short biased in this instance currently before all these reports come out. So this is, you know, my personal take. And so let's quickly talk about what is happening in terms of a smaller time frames. Let's go to 1 hour chart. And we're going to let me turn off the moving average, which is in this instance useless. And we're going to see that we had very strong wedge right here, which I told you a big move is coming, and it did come. We broke out. It was slowed down by the level right here, which is 30,600. Then it broke it. We went above, and we were stopped by this level right here. And I did tell you when we were in this area, I did tell you that it makes more sense to actually short Bitcoin than long Bitcoin. So if you're still in the short trade, good for you. So then we finally broke below, closed with some volume below this level, which has been our short-term support, very good for active trading on Bybit, for example, with 31,400. And by the way, if you want to become one of my full-time students at my certified and accredited trading learning programs to learn how to, you know, find these setups and how to understand the macroeconomics, how to understand the fundamental analysis, how to build portfolios and all of that. So one stop place to go to if you want to learn all of it and not waste any more time, you know, trying to search on YouTube, then go to tomskrallo.com, use the code 20OFF and become one of my full-time students there, and I'll see you at the lessons. So, and now we were pushing down for obvious reasons that all were mentioned in this video. We actually broke 30,600 quite easily, but we were slowed down by this support line, which used to be our resistance from the wedge right here. So you could say we basically retested it, and especially in the daily chart, it's quite visible. Let's just make it a bit bigger. Let's move it to the side, and we will see exactly what I mean, that we had this wedge right here, and then we broke out of it, and we just retested it. And a lot of people are saying that, okay, so we are retesting it, we'll move off and retest like $38,000, which is possible. But again, guys and girls, look at what is happening right now. When we are seeing these kinds of formations actually take off and actually work, which, you know, we really want to see them work, that when we are seeing a retest, then usually it just moves off, right, with a nice, good impulse. But when we are seeing this kind of a rejection right now going downwards, it doesn't really mean that we're going to go down to 25,000, which is actually possible. But it means that there isn't really that very much power in the market. And for me personally, it just signalizes that we might just dance around and do something. And it's going to follow the narrative that was mentioned in this video already, that we're going to end up in some kind of a side movish activity, which you can still trade actively. Just you have to reduce your expectations and move to something like scalp trading or day trading, and not try to take some bigger swing trades, because the market is just telling us that it's not going to provide us with this kind of momentum. So let's go back to the 1 hour chart. And basically, yeah, so we retested, and yeah, it's pushing down right now, quite hard actually. So that's why I said I'm more short biased. So as we broke out, a small retest, which wasn't really on the dollar, but still a nice retest. Then we somehow broke through $30,000, but then we still did not even manage to get past 30,600, and now look at this move going downward. So, yeah, and there is some volume coming in, but again, the volume is still, if you're gonna actually market by and you're actually gonna measure it like this, then you'll see that the volume overall is still going down bit by bit, and it's actually quite visible. So we had some volume here a little bit, that with this breakout happening, everybody was waiting for it, but now, as we were seeing, the price is just doing nothing, pretty much moving down in a short-term perspective, and the volume is also going down. So I would not expect much more than like some kind of a side movish activity, and maybe I'll take some short trades here and there. So that's what I wouldn't be really betting on huge price action, unless a huge upward movement, unless we're going to see some catalyst event coming out. So remember, this is the most important stuff. We can analyze the technicals all we want, but then the Fed is in control. So remember that. Stay smart, stay rich, make some noise down in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.